Hello everybody, how's it going? Ryan Bremner. This is a different video today. I just want to talk about how New Zealand has gone down in the job market and how we've got plenty of New Zealanders that got enough jobs to give to New Zealanders. But what's happened in the last 5 or 6 years, since John Key has run this country, he has run it to the ground. Reason why? There's a lot of employment agencies, say Traystar, XL, Whitbridge, Adebo. They say they can get you jobs, there's job available and all that. They advertise, but it's a bunch of bullshit. Don't listen to them. I tell you why, you register with them. If you're a New Zealander, about 60% of the New Zealanders never hear back from them. If you're Asian, Japanese, Indonesian, Karimancha, Indian and stuff like that, they'll hire you on the spot. They always offer the work to the overseas people, and I think that's wrong. And the other thing that gets to me is, back in the old days, if you had a legal immigrant or somebody that overstayed their visa 1 or 2 months, after 2 or 3 days the immigration used to catch them, and they used to send them back to their country and give them a big boot up the arse. But now these days, if you stay over your visa, some of them stay 5 months, they still work and all this stuff. And if you get caught with immigration, all they give you is a warning to get out of the country in a month. Then half of the smart overseas people get a special lawyer so they can get a special paper. That means immigration can't touch for 6 months to a year, and it goes to court and they end up staying there and working. So why is there so much unemployment? People are trying to get jobs. But now that makes it hard, the government and employment agency everywhere, the warehouse, New World, income support, to get a job or register for a benefit these days, you've got to do it online. But a lot of people don't have laptops, people don't know how to use a computer. Have to scan a CV in and all this stuff through the employment agencies, and people don't know how to do it. They have to ask. It costs money and time as well. But the way everything's going, it's just the government thinks that overseas people, or Indians and Asians, are number one, they get the job first, and New Zealanders number two, we get the job last. We're usually the ones that get it after them. So what is a good idea? That we should have a rule in New Zealand, the same as America, that every 2 years, if you're in the election, you only can stay in for 2 terms at 6 years, and you have to bugger off. As it is in America, it's every 4 years, so that's about 8 years. So the way it's going is, I've tried my hardest to find work, and it's so hard and all that, so I'm just going to make my own money when the time is right and all this. But it's just pathetic. We haven't got a good government. The export market's gone to the pole. Sending stuff from overseas is expensive. Buying stuff from overseas is cheaper to bring into the country. So everything is quite expensive. The only places to buy cheap food these days I usually buy is the supermarket. Like going to restaurants, going to downtown to do your shopping is more expensive than cheaper to go to Countdown, Pack and Save and New World. And the reason why I say that is, I can see in 5 years' time, this country will be corrupt. This country will end up like Indonesia. A poor, not a rich country. The way it's going. You see the export market. The US dollar, $100 New Zealand, 86 US dollars. There'll be a day that when the US dollar becomes 110 US dollars to 100 New Zealand. It happened in the old days years ago, and it could happen again. It may not be this year, but I think we're going to hit a big low in 2015. The crime rate's going to go up. All the overseas people come into our country, they'll be offered the job first, and we're going to be offered the job second. So I just want anybody to add a comment about that. Who thinks that John Key should step down and don't participate in this year's election? Let somebody else have a turn. It's always Labour and National. It's about time they give it to the Greens, New Zealand First and all this. The only person I admire that would make anybody work in New Zealand, that should have been Prime Minister back in 1993, is Winston Peters. He was going to put the minimum wage up a little bit higher, but anybody that wasn't working, he's going to find them jobs like delivering newspapers, picking up rubbish, washing cars, polishing shoes, anything. Because as I said before, there's enough jobs for our New Zealanders to get. If there wasn't any overseas people that taken our F jobs, this country would run quite good. And the Indians, they have no manners. No thank you, no please. They haven't been brought up. They take advantage. They don't know how to treat a woman. Half the time, they marry anybody so they can stay in the country. And the government doesn't see it. And Japanese and Indians moving $100,000 to each other bank account so they can get in. This is what today's society is. But I just want to say thanks for listening to that video, and just leave a comment and let me know what you think about the key and job market situation in New Zealand. Cheers.